What if your entire history was rewritten by your oppressors? What if they took all the books in your school library and replaced them with books that taught the world that your country was only discovered by accident, that it was uncivilized and primitive, and that its people were living in the Stone Age? Well, that's exactly what happened in Africa. And it started over 100 years ago. When European powers colonized Africa, they systematically erased every trace of the continent's rich history. They did this to make Africans feel inferior, to break their identity, and to take their land. The first step was to rewrite the history books. When I say Africa, you probably think of a place full of war and famine, right? But before colonization, Africa was actually a collection of sophisticated and advanced civilizations. There were kingdoms like Mali and Songhai, which controlled massive amounts of gold and other resources. But all of that was systematically erased from history class. Instead, when I was at school in Zimbabwe, we were taught that our country was just a barren wasteland with no history. Until the white man came and built the railroads and taught us how to farm. We were taught that our colonial rulers were like gods who came to save us from a life of misery and war. And anything that didn't fit into this narrative was destroyed. Missionaries burned ancient texts and artifacts so that people would forget their history and their culture. They even went after the griots, the storytellers who kept the history of their people alive through song and dance. And many of these stories were lost forever. But that wasn't enough. So then they invented tribes. They took 2 or 3 different groups of people who had their own language and culture and put them all under one colonial tribe. And then they drew borders around these groups of people so that we would stay in one place and couldn't travel to find work in other places. And those borders have stayed in place even after independence. And so today, millions of people are stuck in countries that are full of people who are completely foreign to them. It's no wonder that many Africans have lost their identity. How can you have a national identity when your history has been stolen? But we're taking a stand. We're writing back. We're telling the truth about our past so that we can build a better future. Join us and subscribe.